Hey, all of you passionate plant people, thank you so much for joining with me here today. We are talking about compost. So, all right, everybody, thanks again for joining with us here today. It's a beautiful day out. I've got a lot of things going on I need to get done here in the garden, but I've got one thing that I've got to get done right now before I move on to other things. I want to get my tomatoes planted out. I want to get my peppers planted out, but before I do that, I've got to harvest up some of my compost, get it sifted out and added into some of my soil that I have so that we can top off all of our containers, all of our elevated raised beds and that sort of thing. And so first I want to get into our alleyway compost that we have in our back alleyway, just right back here. And we'll get into that there. That I feed these worms throughout the year, all sorts of food scraps as well as our lawn clippings, tree leaves, all sorts of things. And it just kind of sits and kind of percolates throughout the whole year and gets broken down again for several months. It's not a hot compost system at all. I don't have any of those, but it's been sitting now for quite a while, several months, and we're going to get back there and harvest some of those. There should be just some really rich compost and worm castings just full in the soil, so I'm just really excited about getting that. We'll sift that up, as well as I've also got here, let me show you, I've got this just trash bin basically that I've drilled holes up and down the sides of it, and I do similar there, no worms, but we just put in plant scraps, garden scraps, leaves, other things like that as well too into this, and I just let it pile in and break down, and then I pile in some more and I let it break down, but then I just let it sit. It's been sitting now probably since I last filled it up late last summer, so maybe about 10 months or so. This has been sitting now, and it's got some really great soil inside it. In fact, let's just get in there and look right now. As you can see, this was full. It broke down last year, and then I added again and filled it up again, and it's broken all the way down. But check this out. I mean, just under the top layer here, just some really awesome stuff in here. So we're gonna sift that up as well, and then we're gonna add it into our pile of soil that I've got here. And this soil is just soil from plants, plant starts, plants that have died off, those sort of things. So we recycle our soil, and that's all we're doing is we're going to add all of this compost, sifted compost, in with this soil here, and then again we're going to go and add that to all of our containers and raised beds throughout all of our different garden spaces, and just really kind of replenish our soil and get everything ready for planting. So first thing I want to do is actually, and I don't know how well this is going to work out, but this is our composting bin, worm bin, where again, like I said, we take our yard clippings, tree leaves, and then I feed a lot of food scraps right down in here. Let's see if we can't get down in here right now. Oh yeah, look at that. You can already see, look at all those worms. Look at all of them just crawling away. And then we just kind of get in here. Just so full of worms. So we're gonna have to sift all of these worms out, get all of this great composted soil here to add to all of our soil, and replenish the soil, as I said, and then we'll restart this whole bin all over again. But you can see some of our squash and different things that have gone in as worm food has left seeds behind that have actually started up these plants. So I don't know how successful we'll be in transplanting some of these, but maybe I'll move some over, maybe some into some other garden spaces on the other side of the fence here. But yeah, we'll try to move them. These sort of plants, curcubit squash, do not like to be transplanted. They don't like to be moved. They don't like the root disturbance. So they'll definitely go through some shock. Maybe they'll come back from that, and we'll see and how that works out if we transplant a couple of them. But yeah, that's the first thing we're going to do there. Then we're going to start pulling that out, sift out all this soil, and should be done real quick here. So there we go. We've got 1, 2, 3 plants in. And again, too, you can see they're already starting to limp up. These things will probably go flat to the ground. We'll see how well they do over the next couple of days if they survive the stress. Now it's time to harvest up all of this really awesome compost that we have out here. And all I'm gonna do is just kind of shovel it up into the bin. We'll take it over and then we'll sift it. So all right, now that we've got all of our compost, well, not all of it, we still got a few more bins of this to do, but we've got a bin full here of harvested compost. What we're going to do now is we're just gonna put it right here onto our sifter. I've got a 1/4 inch hardware cloth onto this here. It's just got some chains right up to that to hold it up there, and that way we can just sift really good into our bin here. And then I've got a tarp down below to kind of catch any extras that fall off to the side. But yeah, just simply here we're just gonna grab up our compost right on there, and just a couple of shakes ought to do it. And then all we are is left with some rocks. I'm going to try to remove wood chips, and as well too, I think they might have gotten down just a little bit deeper already. Oh, there's one. We've got worms that we've got to be grabbing up as well. I'll try to get as many of them back into the compost bin area, but there'll definitely be several that'll hike their way through our sifted compost into our soil, therefore into all of our containers, and just adding life to all of the soil that we have all throughout the gardens. But yeah, I got to get through a few more of these here, and then I'm going to get into our compost we've got here in our big garbage can. Now we're all finished with about 1 tub full of the compost we composted out. And again, we got a bunch of just all sorts of stuff there. There's plenty of rocks, more than I could get to, but lots of wood chips, maybe even heavier clumps and all of that there. We'll add back to the compost area. But look at this. Just check this out. Just wonderful, awesome. Sifted, composted, tons of worm castings in here, and even some worms still. There's a millipede actually. But lots and lots of good life, and that's exactly why we're doing this. We want to add all of this great soil biology, all of this soil life that's been building up over time, as all of our food scraps and our yard waste, the leaves, all of that organic material has been breaking down for all of these months, and just breaking into just great new soil for us. So we will add this compost. Again, I'm going to get through this real quick here because I can't wait to see what this looks like all sifted. And then we're going to add that into our soil, and it's just going to make that soil so much better. It's recycled soil. You know, there's still some life in there. There's still some good stuff in there. But by adding this good organic material to this, we are just going to supercharge all of this soil. It's going to help us have plenty of soil to get around to all of our containers and add a good boost to each of our containers just as we're getting ready to plant out all of our plant starts. All right. Just awesome. What are you up to, boy? Come here, kitty cats. What are you doing, boys? Huh? Yeah? What's going on, Dexter? I haven't seen you for a while. He's like, what's going on, buddy? All right. Just walk on by then. Just walk on by. So, all right, a lot of this is kind of moist as we get down to the bottom of it, but towards the top it's pretty dry. So I've got a protective mask I'm going to do there for any dust, you know, fungus, whatever kind of crazy things will get in the air as we start sifting this. But it's probably a pretty good idea to make sure I keep my lungs protected. But yeah, let's get this thing here. I can't wait to see what we got. So, all right, there we go. We're all finished there, all through our trash bin composter. It's got a bunch of holes on the side, as I showed earlier there, as you can see. But worked really well. In fact, I think this stuff was even better than our alleyway stuff. Here's some of the scraps that'll go back in to compost even more, but check this stuff out. This is just amazing. Look at this. Just awesome stuff. And again, just like I said, so full of life, microorganisms, microarthropods, nematodes, all of those just wonderful, amazing things. Fungi, you know, all of that in there, just working away, creating more and more life to our soil, because that really is ultimately what we're doing. Is we are, you know, building soil. We're not necessarily growing plants. We're, you know, building soil. With the best soil, with really good soil, we'll have really good plants. And that's why we're doing this today, though, is so we could get some of that organic material, that really good life that gets built up in our compost. If we got composting systems. If you don't, get started started, get some, do some, even if it's simple. Like I said, all we're doing is letting this stuff sit out there. I mean, it's spent like years just breaking down, doing what it's doing. Even the trash bin there too, you know, 10 months, you know, for each of these places pretty much that we've got harvested from. And so all that's been breaking down and building up all that great life. So now, again, like I said, I'm going to mix this up, and then we're going to basically top off all of our containers and elevated raised beds. And if I've got some left over, we might use to pot up some other plants and that sort of stuff like that. But that has just really brought a ton of life into our soil today, and our garden is going to benefit from it immensely in the months to come. So all right, there we go. That should pretty much do it for today's video. We've got some great soil now, a great soil mixture to add to all of our containers. And next step now is to start planting out all of our plants. And we'll get into that in our upcoming videos here. I'm gonna start with our tomatoes. I've got peppers that are hardening off. We've got other things that we've got to get into the garden right now real quick. So look forward to those videos coming up here. And if you are with us right now, definitely hit that thumbs up button, click the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and follow along with all of our great fun garden adventures here on the Urban Gardener channel. And I'll see all of you on our next video. All right. All clear, all clear. Well, thank you for joining us here. Joey, make sure you're looking at the camera, dude. And I want to make sure that I got you guys. We fell flat on that one. Yikes.